roughly would be able to share that it is effectively about 8:30 in the night. You all are past, any sort of gloom of the night, and it's going into darkness. Though it is the 20th of Egidec, it is a waning moon, and you still have a good amount of light from the actual glow of the moon, though much of Berez is effectively still full forest, as it's been many, many years since this place has been destroyed. The forest in this swamp is reclaiming moment by moment, and you are basically inside of coverage in, generally speaking, complete darkness. And that's basically where we are going to pick up here. So as you all stare ahead of you, you see pools inside of this swampy land about you. You're more or less on kind of some of the firmer ground. The church in the graveyard is kind of the last bastion of the hill that the ruins behind you to the south were built up upon. You see at least right now one scarecrow is about 150, 200 feet away from you. There's another one to the north of you that's probably beyond most moments of sight, but if you take enough time, you are able to spot that one through the trees with little bits of moonlight kind of glistening off of the actual creature. And more or less, that's where we're going to pick up with you all. What would you like to do?
Okay, so we have the general aspect that they're in a line, but I'm gonna ask Kavi, Sarkis, are we on the right side of this line? I think we are. We're behind them enemy lines. What do you think?
I honestly don't know. It could go either way. There could be dozens or even 100 scarecrows, and these are just the perimeter. But the fact that the goats are on our side and the crows are on the other side, it inclines me to believe that, well, if the goats were your food or your friends or even worth keeping, wouldn't you keep them inside your perimeter? And if the scarecrows are the lookouts and obviously designed to keep the birds away, wouldn't they be on the outside?
Yes.
It could also be like it could also be as soon as we entered that we were already inside enemy lines and we're just getting deeper. So it could be like we're not so much behind them, but like we're within them.
So perhaps we should spend a few minutes exploring the church or the crypt before we proceed and at least rule this area out.
Sure, but I think we should move stealthily.
Agreed.
So, in general, you have a pretty good sense that crypt is effectively southwest of you all here, and the church is kind of like the actual ruins of the church are kind of right between that. They would be kind of within the azimuth if you drew like a line to the crypt. Unless you wanted to go into the graveyard, which you're effectively just to the west of, you all pretty much are just going to backtrack at that point. as you kind of walked up that line beside the church, or at least the ruins of it.
And is there like still a building intact, or is it just like the ruined like couple walls and kind of looks like a church?
There's really not even walls. The crypt is, at this point, the only building that you've seen that looks remotely intact, and that did appear to be, at least from the perspective you had, fully walled in.
So we could spend a couple minutes and try to investigate the crypt and see if we find anything.
It's worth a shot. See if there's anything of value.
So if y'all are going to start heading over towards the crypt, let me have you do a stealth check. So it takes you all about a half hour moving through the swamp here to find your way back towards this small monument inside of the actual swamp itself. It's pretty much on kind of an island to its own. It is well surrounded by like deep bog all around it, where you could almost swim. Sarkis very likely would be swimming to it from pretty much any direction that you decided to approach from, as it's simply just surrounded by water. There's little bits of land that seems dryish around it, but it ends up just being kind of peat moss. As far as getting close enough to it, it seems pretty nicely kept. The stone doesn't seem to have decayed over time. This, from what you've seen, in an area that's entirely in ruins, this is an anomaly.
And from what I'm taking from what you're saying, there's a certain amount of maintenance and upkeep ongoing would be what we're seeing.
Seeing this is like seeing a crypt in, say, like a Civil War uh, cemetery. All of the other buildings, everything else that you've seen is rubble and bits of foundation that is still above the swamp. Like when you walked over the foundation that was near the goat pen, that was just ruins. There were little bits of it that actually stood up over the actual swampland. Most of why you knew that was actually a foundation was because you weren't sinking into it. It was like walking on mud. And the church is kind of the same type of thing. This building is not leveled to the ground, and that's why it would 100% stick out as weird.
This looks well kept, like it's important to someone or something, or perhaps whatever's inside.
Shall we investigate?
Yeah, so like when we get up kind of close to it, can we see like is it have like a big stone door? Is there like a wooden door? Is it just open? Like is it an entrance that we can kind of see?
Let me have the two of you roll an investigation. Realistic key, let me get one from you as well. That's one of your skills. So, as you all go around this thing, it doesn't appear to have any doors. It seems to be a stone monolith, and it just sticks out of the earth in about like a 10 by 10 foot area. And it's not until you actually start to circle around it and you look closer, it shows signs of the stone and like the bas relief being worn away by time. It still, again, sticks out as odd because this place is not destroyed, but you do see some of the actual damages of time starting to wear away at this. And you're able to pick up little bits of what's going on here. It seems to tell a story of a group of people. There seems to be a lord who stands over them, and you see signs of a girl who is put to death at the stake. She is burned at the stake. And after that, like as this kind of mural kind of tracks around this, you see where another lord who looks a lot like Count Strahd van Zartovich comes to this land, and when he arrives, all of the other people are lying down on the ground. It very clearly shows that this group of people appears to have burnt this young woman at the stake, and Strahd came to avenge them and wiped them out of existence. And as you kind of get to this little point, that is when you notice that there are in fact doors hidden within this last bas relief on the south side, where it shows Strahd basically standing over the bodies of this entire town. With noticing it, you are able to try to open them. If I can have, let's see, you're all acrobatics. You can just do strength check from two of you. I have a feeling Flea and Kavi have the best chance there. Really, you guys all have the same modifier. Does anybody have a pry bar?
I
Yeah,
do have a
I do.
bar.
So let me have Sarkis and Flea roll strength checks here. So at first, it really is too well sealed to actually gain entry to. But as you take a little bit longer to work it, a little bit more time kind of moves by, you are eventually able to get a little bit of purchase from the pry bars. You are able to slowly open the doors, and by the time the actual crack is exposed, where you can get the pry bars easily inside of there, very slowly, basically maneuvering it kind of like a de-sealing a tire, you are slowly able to open, and within the crypt, you are going to see a stone figure of a young woman who is kneeling on the ground, looking up to the sky with two of her hands held together. In particular, her palm is going to be to the back of her other hand, with kind of her thumbs overlaid as she looks up to the sky, with her palms kind of like right in front of her face. Let me have you all do. I feel like Sarkis, you've been burning um, torches at this point, right?
Yeah, up until that last little track right there, and then I was gonna ask you how many more I have to mark off.
Yeah, like that's you've basically like passed another hour effectively since we started this session already. It was about a half hour back to the crypt, and this is now like a half hour burned trying to open that door.
Okay, do we recognize the likeness of the person being burned to the stake or the woman in the crypt?
Let me get an investigation from everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna say one of my torches already got used up, and then I have 30 minutes left on the one I just lit. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where everything was at like when we started it. In the long run, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys picked up like 30 torches from the death house. I feel like you've got a lot to actually burn. But yeah, like you basically would have burned a whole torch since we started. If you had one at like half life, if you had that kind of in your notes, then yeah, you're basically at another one is at about half life.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I went through like I want to say last session was like 4 torches, and now I'm on like my 6th total for this little like trek.
So it seems pretty clear that you can probably gather that this crypt is a dedication to the young woman who was burned. Um, in the long run, the actual bas relief is not really going to give you a whole lot to go on that with, except for the fact that she is the statue inside of this thing, and the bas relief like clearly tells the story of her death. So it's not hard for you to make that connection. But while you all are trying to actually figure this out, you can recognize that at some point this figure was painted, and at some point her hair was painted red.
That's what I was looking for.
And once we're inside here, like how big is the actual like building? And do we see like the equivalents of like a casket or like stone version of one?
The building itself is about 10 by 10 on the outside. Inside, there's basically room for this figure, which takes up most of the space, and, essentially kind of just enough space that you can walk around it. But more or less, this is very simply a enclosure to protect this statue within the crypt itself.
But nothing like a casket or where there would be like a body.
You can make an insight check. If there's going to be a body, it's burned to ashes. So you're probably looking at there might be an urn, and perhaps if that's this kind of presentation, perhaps the urn is inside of the actual statue. But from what you can tell in this place, it's not dedicated to her body.
No, it makes sense. If she was burned, there is no body.
Is there like any inscription on the walls?
Do a perception check. As you look around, you are able to find that there is a short inscription that reads, Marina, taken by the mists.
And Marina was one of the names of Strahd's brother's to-be wife, wasn't it?
I don't think you have a reason to recognize Marina on that level. You do recognize her as a reincarnation of Tatiana, but Tatiana was the wife of Strahd's brother.
Okay, so that name doesn't ring a bell to us, Marina. For some reason, it sounded familiar.
I feel like this should be the first time you're hearing Marina. Unless he discussed her, which I wouldn't be surprised if I did.
Okay, no worries. Perhaps this Marina, maybe I don't want to say her name, but the one we're here to find. Perhaps it's her mother.
Perhaps. Flea would like to examine the statue and around its base to see if there could be anything hidden beneath.
What are you looking for? You've essentially already done an investigation on this.
If we move the statue, is there a passage or something underneath it?
Do you want to try to push the statue?
Sure.
Are you going to ask for help? Otherwise, you can do a strength check.
Hey guys, help me. Let's see if there's anything underneath this. Let's just move it a little bit and see what we got.
Right, I'll help you flee, but I don't want to defile anyone's. I'll help.
Well, let's take the utmost of care.
So you can either both roll, or just you can give the help action to flee, and he can roll with advantage.
You're like not sure if Sarkis is like actually trying to help or just pretending like he's helping.
You start to push it, and it starts to rock a little bit. It seems a little bit top heavy.
Be careful, be careful. This is tipping a little bit. Something's not quite right. Let's move it just a little more and see what happens. Doing another strength check.
If you're going to go for it again, the two of you can roll again.
Gavi, you help him. I've got a bad feeling about this. And I'll hand her my crowbar.
She takes it and goes to assist.
So wait, is that you saying that you only want to do the assist?
No, she'll like. She'll
You can
physically.
You can either roll here a strength check, or you can have Flea roll with advantage, so he can roll another strength check. So you all start to push it, and it starts to move, and it's tipping over. What are you guys going to do?
Try to stop it from tipping.
Yeah, I'll try to like run over and like push so it doesn't fall.
You get dexterity checks from both of you. Do a strength check for me, Sarkis. DC 8 to keep it from falling. No, it's going to fall, and it just cracks across the other side, and basically she has been decapitated. You look around the base, there's nothing below the statue.
Oh no, that's what I was afraid of. If I like knock on the statue or like look at where the head broke off, does it appear to be hollow or is it like solid stone?
Do you have like some sort of stone background for you?
No.
I think just an investigation.
Yeah, sort of just like tap on it a little bit. Like here, does it sound hollow or like does it sound solid?
Yeah, it could be a perception. What is it? The perception you don't have the negative on?
Yeah, investigation is my disadvantage.
What's your perception bonus?
+6 instead of +1.
So 22. Kind of knocking across the statue. Well, one, you very quickly see that it was a solid piece of stone at the split point. Knocking across the statue, you don't really hear any difference in sound. Acoustically, this thing sounds the same.
Appears to be solid. We shouldn't have broken it, but I don't know. Sark is gonna like sit down for a minute, like Indian style, and like touch like his thumbs to his pinkies, and like kind of put them across his knees as he like sits there for a minute. And I'm gonna do a hand of healing on myself.
Gotcha. So, as you all start to kind of gather yourselves after perhaps accidentally knocking over this monument, you start to notice the swamp seems eerily silent. Croaking frogs and chirping crickets, you don't hear them anymore. You hear little bits of the wind. You smell the stench of decay. You almost hear the, like, sucking sound, very similar to when you yourselves were walking through kind of knee-deep muck. Something's coming towards you.
I'm gonna go to the like inside where the doors were. Assuming we're like still inside right now, but go to like the inside of the door. So if someone comes around the corner, I would be like surprise them, kind of like situation.
Lee, Kavi, what are you doing?
I want to take a look out the door, see what I can see in the limited lighting.
Are you taking the torch?
I'll ask Sarkis to borrow it.
Yeah, you could assume like while I was doing my little like prayer of healing that it was just kind of like sitting there, so it's free for the grabbing.
Am I able to get a general sense of the noise, or is it just like echoing everywhere?
Depends. Are you inside of the crypt or are you going outside of it?
I'll move outside.
Let me get a perception from you. And then, Al, you can do a perception at disadvantage as you look around. So it doesn't take Kavi but a few moments to recognize that there are creatures coming from the west. Kavi takes a moment. 5, no, 6. 6 humanoids. People. 6 humanoids slowly walking through the swamp. About 60 feet. And once she points them out to you, you're very quickly able to recognize that there are 6 people, very slowly, just walking towards you all. And they're off to the west of the crypt.
People or zombies?
Humanoids. They look like humanoids. It's too dark to tell whether they're people, zombies. It could be celestials. You don't know.
Got it. Thanks.
Clock's ticking. What are you all doing?
What direction are they coming from right now?
Off in the west.
It must be more zombies. The noise probably attracted them. We need to either fight them or get out of here. Go ahead.
I say we get out of this so we have room to move. And then kill them.
So you're out of there. If you say that, are you doing that?
What I mean by out of there,
I heard what I mean by out of there, and then silence.
I think it'd be best if we get away from the crypt at the moment.
yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
I'll like leave the crypt, and when I like see where they're coming from, how far away do they appear to be?
For the two of you using visual clues, it's too far for you to really be able to tell. They're well off away. You're basically catching signs of movement through the trees, but they otherwise look like shadow. From Kavi's ability to listen, she's telling you all 60 feet. Do you trust Kavi?
Yes.
They're slow. We could get away. Let's try to go back around the north and see if we can circle around past the scarecrows. It's that or we try and sneak past them, but I'm starting to think we're on the wrong side. And I'm gonna start making my way like north from where we're at.
Kavi's gonna follow him.
Please following.
So, simply trying to move them away, you all are just heading basically directly north of the crypt?
Yeah, I'm thinking if we go north and then just kind of like try to circle past like the top scarecrow, at least we can see where the next scarecrow in line is at.
So, are y'all trying to move stealthily?
Yeah, I think we should.
We need to get some distance first, then we can be sneaky, but we need to lose them. They're right on our tail.
Okay, let's go.
Moving regular clip, or are you all trying to run?
No, I think speedy right now, and then when we gain a little distance, then we can go stealthy again.
So, y'all spend the next little bit basically running up north. You eventually find yourselves to the west of the graveyard of the ruins of the church.
Kavi, can you hear them? Are they still coming?
Do I still hear them?
Let me get another perception from you. From this perspective, nope. Everything sounds silent. You hear little bits of the chirp of some frogs and crickets again. Seems like you got away.
Sounds like normal swamp to me.
Well, let's try to circle around the north and Lee will be sneaky now. See if we can get around them, or at least see if there's more scarecrows.
So you've got a pretty good idea where like the most northwestern of those scarecrows is. You all are on a little bit of a patch of like the drier part of this swamp. There is kind of a lake that is more or less expansive, about 100 feet to the north of you all, and it seems to kind of progress up to the northeast. How far around the north are you trying to skirt?
Maybe like, I guess like 100 feet or 150 feet.
Like between you and the scarecrow that you've seen?
Yeah, like keep a pretty good distance between it.
So that's a 150-foot circle on that scarecrow.
Oh, I didn't see anything.
Oh, it doesn't show you that circle? Might be because I'm not actually sharing the scarecrow where you can see it.
Oh, no, I can see the scarecrow. I just can't see the circle.
Yeah, I see on my other screen. I don't think I ever noticed that before.
Are we trying to circle around the scarecrows?
Yeah, that's what Sarkis was suggesting.
Okay.
Bam, that is relatively the circle of 150 feet around that scarecrow.
Okay, so
You cut out right after you said okay, so.
yeah, okay, I'm following you.
So if y'all are moving, you can do a stealth check for me. You guys can also drag that Aragol token, which is effectively the party right now, and actually like let me know where you're trying to move to. But yeah, if you all join Sarkis in on that stealth check. So if you all kind of move to that position and you hold and you spend some time like looking around, is that the overall intention here?
Yeah, we want to like sneakily make our way around that scarecrow to see, assuming there's more scarecrows, where's the next one at? So we can kind of get an idea of what the perimeter goes around.
So from that point, you guys can do perception checks if that's where you're holding to check.
I think we should keep moving.
They're in a line. If we move too far and we don't look out, we might run right into one. Just take a moment. Let's look.
So holding off, taking some time to look around, taking your surroundings. You don't appear to see any more scarecrows.
Looks clear. I don't see anything. You're right, Flea. Let's keep moving.
Let's go. Do we need a stealth check?
Yeah, I'd say overall, like, let me know where you're trying to move to. You guys can do a stealth check to get there. And basically, this is kind of like, tell me what you guys actually want to accomplish here. Where y'all moving to?
Like how many squares do you want us to move per check?
In general, at this point, I want you guys to move the token to where you want to go to, and I'll call for different amounts of checks if I need them.
Well, I mean, if we walk up here and there's another scarecrow, we don't want to like go towards the east. But if we go up here and we don't see another scarecrow, the goal is to keep going east and try to get past the wall of scarecrows.
Yeah, and that's part of why I would say at that point, you're telling me that you don't want to move that many squares. That you want to move, like, 2 squares is conservative, 6 squares is adventurous. But I want you guys to actually, like, you guys aren't even talking to each other about what you want to do here. Like, I want you all to try to figure out what you're trying to go for.
I mean, I said what I think, so you guys need to chime in here.
Well, are we want to go like? Are we trying to get out of this? Or we want to get out of the swamp?
If you're trying to push that idea, you are welcome to suggest that, Kavi, but at present, you guys have been moving into the swamp.
I think at this point in time, we have determined that we need to be going east, like, and potentially looking for the treehouse. We have pretty much ruled out the area where we're at as being behind enemy lines, which was our original inclination. So what I'm thinking is we need to explore towards the east, towards the north, or towards the south, or a combination of those things until we find either another scarecrow or the tree.
Oh no, I was just like, I kind of thought like going this way led us out of the swamp.
That is, in general, the direction that you all came from is to the east.
But we came from the southeast, like around the wall of scarecrows from the south.
Oh, so you came in from like this direction?
Yeah, but below the scarecrows.
The drawing that you all got from Muriel is that Berez is this area. You guys are basically in the heart of Berez right now. That initial kind of like bean shape is the streets that used to be the streets of Berez. You all basically came in through the swamp vein, swam down the actual river, and you've come up from the south. So as you start to head east here, you're heading more into the actual parts of Berez, like where the town used to be.
Okay. So yeah, I would say we continue heading east, but I think yeah, I'm not sure. I thought we were heading southwest. I was gonna or like yeah, southeast. I was gonna say like, well, if we just keep like a 50-foot distance, we'll be okay. But I see what you guys are thinking now.
So if everybody is good where Aragol is currently presented here, let me get one more stealth check from you all. And then assuming this is another position where you all are going to stop for a little bit, listen and look around.
Well, that's what we've been doing so far.
We get perceptions from Flea and Kavi, please. So, Sarkis, you are able to spot the signs of another humanoid kind of stabbed into the ground ahead of you, enough that you're pretty certain that this is another one of the Scarecrow. As with all of these Scarecrow, you're not necessarily sure that these are specifically living Scarecrows in the same way, but at this point you've pretty much come to the conclusion that walking up to any Scarecrow might be pretty dangerous in this land. Kavi, you very much hear that you all have circled around the crows. They are now to the south of you.
We can keep trying to go around them to the north or try and sneak past. But either way, I suspect we're going to need to go east and south at some point in time.
Then let's thread the needle very carefully.
So trying to kind of move right along in between those two creatures.
Well, that's my suggestion.
Into the crows? You want to move into the crows?
Well, I mean, we got to get down there one way or the other. I'm open to suggestions.
Are the crows like still making a bunch of noise right now?
Yeah, in particular, the crows basically would have always been making a bunch of noise.
Well, that's our options. We either keep going around the way we've been going or we go into the crows. But if they spot us, we'll be surrounded. We know there's 3 of them right here.
Okay, then let's head to the northeast.
So continuing along to a northeasterly path. If that's what you all are looking for, do another move for me.
Do you need a stealth check?
Let me see the move first. Yeah, let's go for 2 stealth checks.
And I've rolled so many 20s.
Yeah, I think you're already like 5 deep right now. 3 of them in 4 rolls. And I think 1 more from Kavi. Stopping to listen and look, you all can do perceptions. You're kind of within the ruins of a few of the homes. You can see little bits of their walls remaining. Most of the homes have essentially sunk into the swamp. There's little signs of the actual like foundations below your feet where it's a little bit firmer ground. But again, like it's still like sucked into the swamp still. So it's almost like you're like dipping into mud before you feel that you're standing on kind of like a bedrock almost beneath it. You do see here and there signs of the wall being, like a couple of feet off of the ground, but most everywhere these homes where you're at are pretty much leveled to the ground, and very little remaining of them. Looking around, Flea and Sarkis, you don't really see anything at all at this point. Flea is able to keep a little bit of an eye on the last scarecrow that you all have seen. It's not moving towards you. Probably never noticed you. Kavi, as you listen out, probably a few 100 feet away from the crows, 3, maybe 400 feet. They're pretty faint at this point. Sarkis and Flea probably can no longer hear them. And they're quieting a little bit. They're perhaps not reacting to you all being close by anymore. But overall, you all are pretty certain you're moving away from wherever the crows are at.
So I'm thinking we're gonna try to like go south and east now.
That sounds good for everybody. Just somebody move the token where you're going for, and then once we're moved, I'll tell you how many stealths. I think do another 2 stealth checks. And then perceptions from everybody. Halfling luck is no longer affiliated with ones, you just roll all 20s.
That's so ridiculous, dude.
I said you're not going to get them when they actually matter.
Maybe now's when they actually matter because we're actually sneaking up and not getting spotted so far. So depends how you look at it.
So, giving Kavi a little bit of an ability to triangulate, the crows are probably about 430 feet. A little bit south, well west of you. Looking around as you go back into kind of the forest of this central area of Berez, you don't seem to see any signs of any more scarecrow at this point. It seems relatively open in this area.
So I'm thinking if we can move again, just do the same thing again. Keep going south and east. We know that there's like the path we just went over, and we know there was another path coming from the goats that kind of went like more east. So I'm thinking we're trying to like kind of connect the dots. But obviously, at this point in time, we're really looking out for a treehouse.
So you can place the marker again southeast. Just show me how far you want to go.
Only thing I remember her saying was that it was west of the city.
Yeah, so if you have a good sense that those are the two roads that you're looking for, you're inside of the city. You have a good sense that you're inside of the city right now.
Okay, so there's a possibility that we didn't go west enough and that we're just doubling back into the city now.
So on that one, let me have you all do a stealth, and then once you arrive at kind of your holding position, do a perception. And then perception from Kavi, please. So by this point, you all generally notice, like, kind of last moment, that you've basically left a row of houses that once kind of lined up against that northern little road. Lee and Sarkis are able to kind of locate some of the ruins of the houses to the south of you. Kavi's no longer able to pick up signs of the actual crows making any sort of noise. But I think at this point you all are pretty confident that you are inside of the heart of Barovia. You don't see or sense any danger immediately upon you.
It seems like we're inside the city now. We maybe we should have kept going west back there and not doubled back. I don't know. I wish we had a better map.
Can we see whatever it is to the southwest or no?
No, that is not there.
Okay.
So at this point in time, though, based on the map we had, and then us walking around here too, is it pretty clear that we are not west of the city now? We're like inside the city.
Yeah, from the descriptor that you got from Muriel, That is the eastern point of the city. And it's pretty understandable that this is the western part of the city. You guys entered in on the west side of the city.
Which is a clean decision on our part from last week.
Yeah, I think it was your overall goal. I think you guys accomplished it pretty well. And right now you guys are doing good recon. You've located most of your threats inside of this city. You've done a pretty good job assessing what you have ahead of you. So it's not necessarily time wasted or anything, but you guys are at present more or less nearing like the central point of the city, but you're getting a pretty good sense that you are getting further away from danger right now. You know, simply the density of the scarecrows that you've noticed is going down.
Yeah, which kind of indicates we need to go west or south.
I think you're right, Flea. I think we were closer before, and it seems like we're getting further and further away. We should double back either the same way or try to cut down from the south and re-enter from the original trajectory.
Well, if we go to the south, we can take a look to see if there's anything we need to know about those ruins.
Yeah, you're right. Just we need to stay away from those scarecrows as best we can. So let's go south from here.
Yeah, how about we stop just inside the tree line?
Is that what you're thinking? Right about there?
A little farther in the trees, maybe half a block. Yeah, that way at least.
So do another round of stealth and perceptions for me. So as you all kind of like move into the tree lines and start to approach the end of it where the swamp's getting a little bit deeper here, there's going to be a point where somebody takes a step away. It just feels a little bit too squishy. And you're going to look back as you see that there are humanoids drawing up from the mud behind you. What are you all doing here?
Behind us, like the way we just came through.
Yeah, you've basically like walked over and past them.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Flea.
we need to silence these guys quickly.
Okay, and do we actually see like the humanoids, or we just like here? I'm coming again.
At present, while you guys look back behind you, you see that there's 3 of these creatures rising up from the mud. They're pretty much on top of you all, so it's more or less like react now. You guys are in combat.
Okay, I will pull out my blowgun and fire off a couple darts.
So you guys can just go ahead and roll some initiatives. You know what? Honestly, I don't even think we're going to do a map for this one. There's no reason for the actual counter. I'll just keep track on the whiteboard. All right, Kavi, what are you doing?
How far away are they from us?
Right on top of you all. What's your intention? What are you looking for?
Oh no, I just wasn't sure like if they're like immediately on top of us. Or there's like some distance. But I'm way.
Again, what's your intention? What are you looking for?
I was just going to cast vicious mockery on them.
So I would say with Vicious Mockery, go ahead and cast it. One of them is on top of you.
How loud is vicious mockery?
I'm pretty sure it's just verbal components, so she's basically just saying something.
Oh, not yelling or anything like that.
I don't know, Kavi, are you yelling?
Nah, she's not yelling. She's just being. She's a scary, calm person that no one really wants to make mad.
So how does a zombie react to a psychic attack? I don't think you see anything in particular that makes you feel one way or another how this is affecting this creature. Any bonus action from you?
Yeah, she's going to get flee bardic inspiration, and she's going to back up 5 feet.
It is going to swipe at you when you go to back away. And a big old 10 should be a big old miss, as it seems to be. Actually, my apologies there. It doesn't really matter. It's a miss regardless. But it did effectively sink in. So as it kind of swings out at you, you just kind of see as its like head seems dazed, and it just kind of leaps out, but it leaps out to swipe at you in a place where you were not standing. And with that, it's going to go to Sarkis.
Okay, yeah, I've got my blow dart out. So assuming that one is probably the closest to us since it just attacked Kavi, I'm gonna dart it a couple times.
Both of those are going to hit, and what are those? Are piercing damage. So yeah, I feel like watching those like sink into a corpse. You just kind of see as it appears like the first dart kind of pierces through one of the shoulder blades, and then the second hits in almost the same area, and it seems to cut like one of the remaining tendons. Seems like it's done a pretty good job of like separating one of the arms, so it's not really like attached to the musculature anymore.
Okay, cool. No bonus action from me this time. I guess I'll stow my pipe, my blow dart pipe. And then that's it for me.
So 2 of these are going to close in to the one that was on Kavi is going to close into Kavi and is going to swipe out at her. And it's going to try to hit her with its claws. I think both of those are going to hit with a crit as well as a 18 to hit, and then it's going to try to bite her, which will miss. So let's see. And the first attack is going to do 4 slashing damage, and the second attack is going to do 5 slashing damage for a total of 9 slashing. And then the next one of these is going to move into closing up to Sarkis, and it's going to do the same thing. 2 swipes with its claws, and then a bite. And I don't think a 15 hits you, Sarkis.
No plus to it?
No. That's 2 attacks there. So that's a 6 to hit you and a 15 to hit you. I think.
I got you. Yeah. I'm 17. Yeah. So yeah, it's a miss. Both are misses.
Yeah, my bad. That's 3 attacks. I'm just trying to speed it up, but the first 2 are like with its claws. So that one's going to miss. I am assuming Flea has a much better dexterity, but this next one is going to follow Flea. So Flea, what are you doing here?
Double dagger attack.
All right, going for the one that is on Kavi right now.
The one that's coming on me.
All right, that's the one, like, basically that you all are waiting on, so you can make those attacks. First one's going to hit, second one's going to hit, and you're going to drop... When you make that choice, do you recognize that the creature that hasn't moved yet is effectively the only one that you cannot sneak attack?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so like you could attack either of these creatures and get a sneak attack on you. But the one that is going to be a threat to you is the one that you cannot get a sneak attack on.
And the sneak attack essentially gives me 3 attacks, right?
You're a rogue. Sneak attack is everything for you. Your whole build is designed around once a turn, you drop stupid amounts of damage into a sneak attack.
Okay, let's go.
So, like, you could bonus action and try to take a hide action to give yourself advantage where you can probably sneak attack the one that is going, like, for you. Because there is one running for you, or not running, they amble towards you. So I would say either, like, kind of the idea is either you want to bonus action hide to try to stab this thing and gain advantage where you can sneak attack the one that is coming for you, or you want to attack one of the ones that somebody else is on because you want their ally, basically.
Okay, we'll go with the sneak attack plan then. You're right. That is his build.
So if you're going for the double dagger and you want to sneak attack one of the ones that is on one of your friends, the one Kavi is on is the one that's already well injured. The one that is now on Sarkis is, it's looking full health for something that's been dead for hundreds of years.
Okay, well, I'm going to take the cheap shot on the almost dead one and then move on to what Sarkis is dealing with.
Gotcha. So yeah, you kind of just like run up and with a quick slash of your dagger, you just cut down the one that is on Kavi, basically just slicing its spine in 2, and this thing kind of just folds over and just falls to the ground, no longer moving. And then in kind of the same motion, you're able to leap up to the one moving up to Sarkis, stab it across the back, and again get a successful hit into that. But with that, you've removed one of the threat.
And can I hide for a bonus action?
Your bonus action is that second attack.
Got it. Thanks.
And then that last one is going to try to move into flee. The claws are going to miss. 14, your AC is 14, so that'll be a hit. As it bites into you, it's going to end up doing 4 piercing damage to you.
And with uncanny dodge, I'll take 2.
Gotcha. And it will go back up to Kavi. Right now, Flea is cutting down the one in front of you, freeing you up so you're no longer in combat. And then the other 2 of them are kind of within, like, in general, like a 10-foot space here, and each of them have a zombie that is apparently attacking them.
Alright. I'm going to use Eldritch Blast, a beam on each of the 2.
So first attack on Sarkis, second attack on Flea.
Yeah.
So you're a bard. You don't have any Eldritch invocations. So you kind of just smack into the first one, and the other one just kind of goes wide and misses the creature. With that, assuming it is going to go to Sarkis.
I will double unarmed strike the one that is in combat with me.
You know offhand, does your unarmed strike count as bludgeoning damage?
It is bludgeoning, yes.
Excellent. Alrighty. So let me get a d20 with each of those, like 2 d20. So first punch, right to the hip, knock off a leg. Second punch to the other hip, knock off the other leg. They're now like 2 legs just kind of standing there, ambling towards you, and a torso on the ground that's kind of like pushing itself towards you.
I'm gonna do one more unarmed strike, and I'm gonna give it a boot to the head. So many 9s.
And then one more d20. And that one's going to take off one of the arms.
And that's it for my turn.
Just a heads up, it looks like my thing's about 20 minutes out.
All right, sounds good. All 4s. So let's see. I feel like Sarkis. I think they're just going for the same targets, really. So the arm is going to leap out and strike at you. The legs just kind of walk into you. And then the other arm's going to swipe. And then it's going to try to bite at your ankles. So the swipe and then the ankle biter will do 3 damage and then 8 damage of piercing. I don't really think there's a big difference for you. And then the other one is on Lee. And that one is going to do all 3. So 2 claws and the bite. I think one of the claws is going to hit there with a 16, and it's going to do 6 piercing damage to you.
With uncanny dodge, that
Oh, my bad. This one actually will happen after your turn, so you can uncanny it. No, wait, no. The one that attacks you is before your turn, so you cannot I feel like I mixed those initiative orders up. That was a mistake on my part. The one that's attacking you is after your turn, so you can uncanny it, but I rolled it too soon here.
okay. So it's a 6 going to a 3.
Yep. And then you can take your turn on it. If you kill it, we can heal that 3 damage.
Yeah,
All right, so this is the same thing where you're are you going for the kill on the one that you can get sneak attack on?
absolutely.
All right, so yeah, with those 2 quick little stabs, the first one you almost get this creature, and then that second stab is going to remove it. There's effectively just the one that is on you, so you then will uncanny dodge, take that 3 damage, and then it's basically all 3 of you versus this creature to see if it can survive to essentially attack you again. So if everybody can basically take your turns here, I'm assuming 2 Eldritch Blasts, 3 unarmed strikes, and then 3 dagger attacks, or 2 dagger attacks. And basically just, we'll see, more than likely, you guys can kill this thing solo. Yep, gets all the way to flee. It's like severely hurt by the time it gets to flee, and that sneak attack's going to be the KO. So as you all kind of like wind down on this initial, kind of look around yourselves, doesn't appear like you've attracted any attention. Crickets, frogs, wind. Don't hear any ravens. Don't hear any goats. Seems pretty good.
Should we keep moving south and try to double back around the scarecrow?
All right. Did we take another look? Can I take another look around after all that fighting with the zombies, just to be sure?
What are you looking for?
A, any more zombies? C, B, did any scarecrows pop up? Anything like that?
I mean, when I tell you it's clear after a fight, it's clear after a fight.
Oh, I'm
guys
sorry, I
can't-
didn't hear that.
You guys cannot spot these zombies. You're walking around in a swamp where these people were annihilated. There was a genocide here, and there are dead bodies everywhere. And those are the zombies. There's no way for you all to predict where they are. there's some level of you can look for them once they've been excited to search for you. But when they are actually basically arising from where they died, there's no way to predict it. Many of these bodies are floating in the river. Many of them are just kind of like sitting like stagnant in the mud. The scarecrows, you have some level of checking, but at present, nope, you guys are right at that forest line, and you walked into these zombies. Other than that, you're in a quiet place right now.
All right, cool.
So if it sounds good to move to the south, you all can pick up the token, decide where you'd like to move to. And I think that'll be do a stealth check, and then as you kind of stop at the edge of the building, we can do another perception. So kind of stopping about the edge of that foundation, there's a pretty well ruined house in front of you. Probably one of the like most destroyed, most overtaken by the earth. You can see that there's very much like a lower side to that opposite side of the road. You all have a pretty good view, both like well to the east of you, about 3 houses on each side of this road to the east, both on the north as well as 3 on the south side. All of them are pretty much in similar states of ruin as the one you're in, but directly south of you, that building is next to no stonework, is above the actual swamp. That is one of the lowest points in this area ahead of you, so you're very much kind of looking downhill at that one. And when you look off to the west, you are once again able to spot that scarecrow that you saw a couple hours ago, probably like 4 hours ago at this point. And as you guys kind of look off to that one, still seems to be holding fast. Doesn't appear to be like associated towards your direction at present. It feels like this is a pretty good time to try to cross the road.
Keep moving. Start going west.
Yeah, but we have to be really quiet because that scarecrow's directly west. Oh, that way. Okay.
Yeah, like still south, but starting to go west. I meant.
That one do another round of stealths, and you all can do another round of perceptions as you kind of stop to hold. Yeah, I think at this point you all are in kind of a null zone. You don't really see any signs of any danger in your immediate presence. You don't feel any difference in kind of like the ambiance of this area. It just has that kind of like dank foresty feel. There's the life of crickets and the life of toads around you. You know, on some level, you're moving closer to some kind of danger, but you don't yet know exactly what these different things are. Um, you've got that like thicket between you all and the goat pen. You're pretty sure you could go like directly west and arrive at the goat pen at that point. But kind of same idea. You all can decide where you would like to move from this point, and we'll see what kind of rolls you need. Bam. So we will jump back to that. You all are doing the move kind of directly west towards the goat pens. and we will have you all do 2 rounds of stealth and then a perception, please. So, with this, I think you all are going to have a solid move to the west. You don't really encounter anything. You don't really hear any difference in like noise levels besides like a kind of typical ambience at this point of kind of swampy, windy sounds. But in general, you have a pretty seamless move over that like next half hour as you're getting closer to where you expect the goat pens to be. At present, though, you're not quite seeing them right now. So we'll put you back to, you all can do your next general movement that you're looking for, and we'll do another call for what you might need.
Oh, so when we investigated before, I only kind of investigated the west side of the goat pen?
Essentially, yeah, I think you all kind of came up in like the southwesterly quadrant, and then you kind of went around the west side and a little bit into the northwest, and then you moved off to the northwest and away from it. So the idea there is you're kind of looking to actually go all the way around it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Right.
investigate it a little better and maybe like look for like footsteps so we could see which way they're leading.
So let me have another stealth from you all, and then we'll do investigations. So you'll more or less encounter a pretty similar situation here. As you move up to the goat pens, you're going to see there is a goodly number of goats, mostly standing on some rocks that are inside of this pen. Some of them are in fact standing on top of each other. As you get closer to the pen itself, along this western side, walking around, looking, trying to see, you don't see any footprints. There's plenty of prints from the goats inside of this pen, but you don't see any footprints on this side of the pen, out on the east side, rather. I think I said west before.
Are there any more or less than before?
At this point, it's the same amount of goats.
Okay. Where do you want to go now, guys? Oh, there's where we want to go now.
That was actually me moving you because technically you've already moved up to the corner of the goat pen. This was me just like going down to a micro because you guys are actually inside of the goat pen map. So while you all are investigating, is everybody just looking around the goat pens? Does anybody want to try to climb inside and go into the goat pens? Is anybody like taking a skull, disturbing the skulls?
Okay, from before you said it did not look like there was a gate.
Nope, no gates. This is a solid fence, like all around, built out of humanoid bones.
And everybody inside, the goats are quiet, right?
I don't think there's any reason that they have to be quiet. They're making goat sounds, but they're not like especially loud.
I'm going to look at the ground and see if I can find a pebble to toss at the closest group.
So I think you're just gonna make a dexterity check.
Any reactions? Hey guys, do you think there's anything here we want to look at? I'm not so sure we want to go digging around with these skulls, but what do you think?
I'm not sure. I don't want to disturb anything or get too close, but I would imagine whoever's keeping these goats here, keeping them alive, or whoever they belong to, there must be some signs, some tracks, or something that would help us find them. And I suspect it's who we're looking for, but if it's someone else, maybe they can at least point us in the right direction.
Roll a d4 for me, Flea.
Okay, I rolled. It didn't go to the tabletop, but it was a 2.
Roll an initiative. The goat is going to spin to you and kind of look at you as its back's like bleeding where you hit it with the rock, and it's like pawing at the ground.
I said I was just tossing a pebble.
It's still an improvised weapon.
Do I have the option to just disengage?
I mean, what's your goal disengaging? You're not like next to the creature to disengage.
I mean, I don't want to get in a fight with a goat. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I was tossing the pebble over there just to kind of see if we could get a reaction from them.
You found a reaction. It's about to charge you. So it is going to charge out as it hits the fence. The fence kind of shakes a little bit, but holds fast.
Let's back away, guys. I don't want this guy making too much noise.
So on your turn, what are you thinking? You can say that to everybody else. What are you doing?
Just backing away.
Like, do it though. Like, tell me more than backing away. Are you running away, taking the dash action with your bonus action so you can move, what is that, 90 feet, halved, 45 feet away? Or are you going 10 feet to the south?
Yeah, I just moved.
All right, so what's everybody else doing when Flea says we need to get away from this?
So the goat like charged the wall, which is only, how tall is it again? Is it only a couple feet tall?
Yeah, it's basically your height. Yeah, it's like 3 feet tall.
Like, knowing what I know about goats, would I feel like the goat could jump over the wall? Or does it look like the goat could break through the wall?
I mean, it's trying to break through the wall right now. In general, this wall is still created to keep goats in. But yes, goats have a pretty astounding ability to climb over and jump over things. But basically, I would say this is more or less like tilted inward as well. So, like, a goat would have to stand on top of another goat and then try to leap over it. But yes, the goats can get out.
Okay, I got you. But it would have
But
to, like,
its reaction was to charge straight at Flea. It just so happens there was a gate, or there was a wall of bones in between Flea and it.
Okay, I want to like keep trying to investigate before we run away from here. So I want to make another check on my turn to see if I can find any tracks or signs of a creature outside the wall, like where it would have went.
Yeah, where are you trying to look?
Well, if I kind of already did on the east side, and I feel like now I've done the west side, so now I'll go to the north.
All right, so you can move over there. Like, your normal movement's going to be 30 feet, so you've got 15 feet off there, and then you can do an investigation.
Are these 5 foot squares now?
Difficult terrain for the swamp, though, so you're halved.
Yeah, but I can move 3 5-foot squares? Or
Yep.
wait, 4, because I have 40-foot movement?
Oh, your movement's 40? Yep, you can do 20 feet.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to investigate up here at the north.
Looking around, you don't see any footprints up there either. Kavi, any thoughts what you were doing?
Did I hear like any like something akin to like a humanoid or anything other than ghosts coming closer to us?
You can do a perception check. Looking around yourself, you don't see anything coming near. Listening, you hear the goats, you hear crickets, you hear frogs.
I'm going to move to the other side.
So that's like taking the dash action right now. You're in difficult terrain, so your speed's halved. And I think that was 25 feet. So if you're dashing, you could move another space. Or that's just a normal move.
I'm going for more normal movement.
Gotcha. So what are you doing here, Flea? Oh wait, no, my bad. The goat actually goes before you. So the goat again kind of like drops its horns down, shuffles its like front foot as it like prepares to charge, throws its horns down as it runs towards you and hits into the skulls. You see as the bones kind of shake and rattle a little bit. What are you doing, Flea?
Ignoring the goat. I'd like to investigate the skulls and the goat a little closer to see if it has a collar on it or anything like that.
What are you trying to investigate doing with the skulls?
I just want to see if they're human or humanoid. Um, how are they attached? That kind of stuff. Not touching them though.
How are you going to see how they're attached? You know what I mean? Like without touching them, you're just like looking around to see if they're like tied to it, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'd like to know if the goats have a collar on them.
You can do a perception check. No collar on the goats. Looking over the bones. Can't quite tell what in particular is holding these skulls on. It's not like a string, it's not a rope, and it's not a spinal cord. Sarkis, what are you doing?
I'm going to make my way around like the northwest. And I'm going to just like, instead of looking for something in particular, I just want to do like a perception and kind of see if like anything catches my eye as like out of the ordinary or like possibly a lead.
So you're going to the northwest. You're just kind of trying to broaden your perceptive abilities to look for anything out of the ordinary, but effectively on that northwestern side.
Yeah, like I feel like investigating, I'm like kind of like head down, like looking in the dirt or looking for tracks. I feel like with perception, I'm more like broadly looking around for something like that would catch my attention.
Roll a perception. You've seen no signs of anything ever coming over near this goat pen. That sticks out as odd. Why have a goat pen if you never go to it? What could possibly be the point?
Okay, I'll just like let the party know that there's something odd here. There's no signs of anything coming near, and what's feeding these things and who's taking care of them? Can I still do like an Arcana check, or did that pretty much take my whole turn?
What are you thinking for the Arcana?
Like, does it seem like this is like a magical illusion or like magically like protected or anything like that? Do I see any kind of like weird lights or anything?
You can do an Arcana.
Eerie glows.
Nothing sticks out that is abnormally magical about this. It seems like kind of a typical fuckery of like the mist in these lands. How shit is just baffling and odd, but it doesn't really give you any extra insight into the current situation. Copy, what are you doing?
I'm going to move closer to the pen and take a closer look at the goats and see, are these zombie goats or are they like normal goats?
I mean, with that, you don't even. Yeah, you can do a perception check, but it's not going to take you much to. These goats are perfectly fine, perfectly normal, natural goats. Nothing about them especially tells you that they are undead in the least bit. Anything else from you, Kavi?
Yeah, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Flea starts to apparently talk to himself, asking himself,
Well,
should
hold up
we
a
look-
second. The goat's going to go before you here. The goat is going to move back towards the others before it charges again at the fence directly towards you again, Flea. The fence shakes and rattles a good bit more. It's weakening this position where it's attacking. Still hasn't broken through anything, but it took a lot more damage and is shaking a lot worse than the last hit. So what are you going for here, Flea?
Okay, Flea's going to walk towards the south along the pen and ask himself, i.e., the voices in his head, should I go in there and check it out? Or should I eat one of these guys? Or should I play with the skulls? Or should I eat that guy? Or should I go inside?
What's the actual question that you are asking?
Should I go inside? I'm going to ask the rest of the group if they'd like to have goat for dinner or breakfast. I'm also going to tell the goat that if it persists, its new name is going to be Bacon.
As you start to listen to the voices and try to focus in on what they are all saying to you, everything that they are telling you, that is a poor choice. Whoa.
Okay, so don't screw with the goats. Guys, bad feeling. Let's get away from these goats. Let's get out of here. Let's keep moving on.
On your ability, what does it tell you that takes? Is it just it says you can cast augury?
Oh yeah, I can do augury every
Augury takes a minute to do, though, is why I'm asking it.
yeah, I was just talking to myself and the things in my and the voices in my head, not
Yeah, so you're not even going to get to that result. Sarkis, what are you doing?
Are the rest of the goats like reacting any differently, or are they all just like hanging out while this one seems like hostile?
They're all acting a little bit like more active, but overall they're still basically holding fast. They are not doing anything. Effectively, what is going on here is that goat is in combat with Flea.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna like see that it's like riled up, but I'm not gonna like partake right now. I would like to continue walking around. So I have established now that there's a pen of goats here. Nothing appears to be taking care of the goats. So now I'm thinking maybe look around for like what these goats could be possibly like. Well, I guess they could just be eating. Well, is there like grass inside there with them? Or is it just like all mud, like kind of in the pictures?
You can do a perception.
And then also maybe like fresh water. So I guess I'm gonna look to see, does it look like there's enough food or water inside that pen to keep a bunch of goats alive?
Yeah, I would think that's unless you're planning on like climbing in and looking around, I think that's a perception check. So I think that's a 20, and well, it's not even with disadvantage though. So I think that's a 20 if you're just looking.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
roll was still a 14 though.
I got you. Use my old roll, but add 5 to it.
Yeah.
5 more.
Looking through, there's things to eat. Nothing's growing in there. There's not like pools of water, but there's water in there. Something's taking care of these goats.
Okay, something is taking care of them. There is food inside of there. I think that'll use my turn then, right? Because that was my action pretty much.
I mean, that's effectively a free action. Doing 2 checks is where it becomes an action.
Okay, well, I guess I will. I'm gonna try to calm down that one goat that's mad at Flea. So can I try to do like an animal handling and say, uh, relax, buddy. We don't mean you any harm. We're friends. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
you can do an animal handling. It's going to be a little bit higher of a DC. You're kind of like yelling to it across from the way, and its attention is pretty well locked in on Flea.
That's cool. I don't have a lot of other ideas, and I see he's like kind of riled up, and I know I'm far away, but I'll give it a shot. See if I get his attention.
So I think you have another sign that it's a domesticated goat. It seems to respond to your voice. It may not be through with things, but you may have a chance that you've held it off from continuing what it's doing. Avi, what are you doing? Are you there, Keith?
I am. I'm just don't know what to do at the moment.
There's a bloody goat in front of you. It is charging against this bone wall that's directly in front of you towards Flea, and it seems quite intent on doing so. Starkus is currently trying to calm it down, and perhaps has its attention.
Okay. Is there like any like tall grass, something that's like might be edible for a goat?
You're probably like 50 feet away from the nearest grass that you could do something with. There is like basically like hay inside of the pen.
Random question: do the rations like come with salt?
What are you going for? What's your intention?
Feed the goat, see if they'll calm down.
I would say it's probably like salted things. So you probably have something salty.
All right, I'll try feeding something salty to the goat.
So do an animal handling. It does not seem responsive to you. So after another moment, it's kind of looking between Sarkis, looking between Flea, and it's just going to kind of like bash its head into the fence. But this is the first time it has not charged the fence. Again, it's going to get a solid hit into it. The fence is rattled more than before, but otherwise is seemingly still holding fast against the goat. Flea is going to be continuing to listen to the voices. Sarkis, what are you going for?
Am I allowed to walk a little bit?
You are casting a spell.
Probably not.
Yeah, I think you can move. You're effectively just concentrating. What are you thinking, Sarkis?
I'm just gonna keep kind of circling the pen, and then again, I want to just sort of like look around for just anything abnormal. What I'm thinking right now is these goats are living flesh, potentially food, that are here in the middle of nowhere. Somebody's taking care of them, and there's random zombies all over the place. So is there something stopping these zombies from eating the goats, like protecting them? Or if there's like some kind of traps around, if a zombie like shambles up that like catches or kills the zombies. But yeah, I think so. That's what I'm gonna do. Look, and maybe like either perception or investigation, whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, on that one, I feel like you can do an insight and try to actually think about what might be going on here. Hold on, I was going to describe things. You can do a perception and look for things, or you can actually do an investigation where you are looking for traps.
Oh no, I'm good with the insight. Try to just figure out what the hell is going on here.
I think you're right on. These things are flesh. They are probably something that is purposefully here. You guys have come across these zombies enough that the zombies in particular are things that you disturb. So at some point, maybe something cleaned up this area so they could put the goats here, and there are no zombies inside of that area. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there are not zombies nearby. The zombies just need disturbed to kind of do something. They are otherwise just holding where they died at.
Okay, and then I want to use my action again to try to soothe the goat. And I'm just going to say, it's okay, little goat. Come over here. We're your friends.
So
Leave
just
me
to
alone."
throw it out there, on skill checks, like doing the same checks makes them more difficult. So you guys have done 2 animal handlings. It's going to be supremely difficult to do another animal handling. I feel like the 23 is essentially the only chance that you have, and I would be tempted to say that that might not even be enough. I think if you're going to go for this, you want to use your +2 and you're shooting for 25. Like, it's a 1 in 20 chance that you're going to do this, and I think you need to use, well, realistically, you have the 3.
Well, the fact that I already have animal handling the goat doesn't help me. It makes it harder.
Well, it's a skill challenge. I'm looking for 3 successes to calm the goat down, and doing the same thing doesn't make it easier. You need to get to 3 successes, and trying different things is a lot of what's going to help.
Okay. Well, I'm not that concerned about the goat or its well-being. So I will.
The goat's bloodied. If you're not concerned about its well-being, you could end its life.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I will. I'm gonna try to get the attention of one of the other goats. Can I do that? A different goat that's not all riled up.
What's the intention there?
See if it like will approach me. Try to like come towards the edge.
All right, yeah, just kind of like reaching out your hand and just kind of like trying to bring the goat towards you. You can make an animal handling. It notices your presence. Again, they seem domesticated enough. One of the goats will come towards you.
All right, and that's it for my turn.
Kavi, thoughts?
I'm going to like slowly creep away from the potential danger zone.
Anything else, or just putting distance between you and the goat pen?
I'm just going to put distance at the moment.
The goat is just going to once again kind of run in Flea's direction, head down, and hit into the fence. That time the fence itself doesn't seem shaken at all. The goat more or less kind of just like follows the fence, gets caught up a little bit into it, and just kind of hooked around. Flea doing another round of casting. Are you moving? What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep walking away from it.
So just trying to speed through these in general. Sarkis, Kavi, what are y'all thinking? Like, Sarkis, if you're doing your same stuff, like, let me know. Kavi, if you're just moving, you can just move yourself.
I guess I'll just circle around and keep doing like an insight check to see if I can see what the hell's going on here. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that there's no tracks, but something's feeding these goats to me.
Do an Arcana check. Your second one still high, yeah. I think at this point you guys are definitely running up against the wall. And I feel like do an intelligence for me. I feel like you're wise enough. You need to get the fuck out of here, guys. This is not a situation you want to be in. Run away.
Something's not right. We need to leave now. We need to get out of here. I don't want to be here any longer.
I agree.
So I think the goat's going to do kind of just holds itself there. It'll kind of go around to you all like more or less at this point. Flea, you can still move. You are still essentially listening to the augury. And Kavi, you can move if you'd like. You can do something else if you'd like. So yeah, Sarkis, right now they're kind of leaving you behind. So you're just gonna kind of like run to catch up with them.
I thought we were going west. That's east.
If you keep going west from where you are, it gets you right back to the crypt.
I'll just dash down over here. Well, yeah, aren't we looking for something else? Not going back to where we just came from? And that's it for my turn.
So Kavi, you moving to catch up with Sarkis. You moving ahead of Flea.
Well, we need to pick a direction, so
You guys are still in initiative until that goat breaks out of that pen or you guys get out of its vision. It's still attacking. So the goat kind of like stagnates at the pen again. Flea, what are you doing here? Sarkis?
Let's hide in the bushes over here and see if something comes. Oh, and I think just move off of the map to like the south and then maybe hide.
Sound good for everybody?
Sounds good.
The goat is going to again charge into the pen, seemingly getting caught into it again. Let's get stealth from you all. So as you all hide just below the pens and just kind of hold fast for a little bit, it's not long before Flea finishes casting augury and listening to the voices in his head, where then you would pick up the idea that to go into that pen is woe. It is death. And effectively, once you guys are hidden, the goat stops charging at the pen. So that's another like 15 seconds. It's essentially 18 seconds for him to answer what that is. If Kavi or Sarkis had something that they wanted to do in those few moments, you are more than welcome to. Otherwise, assuming you all are basically sitting there and waiting for something to happen, the goat kind of just ambles back towards the others. It's still bleeding, it's still injured, but otherwise, nothing in those next few moments happens before Flea gets his response. But how long do you think you all would wait and watch the pen from that point?
I'm going to tell the group about the augury that, hey, we don't want to go inside of that pen under any circumstance. Woe be it who goes.
Makes sense. I'm not really much for crawling inside of bone structures full of skulls, so I agree with you, Flea. should we try to keep moving? Should we head back to where I heard that weird voice? Should we try to rest here for a bit and see if someone comes? We could put out the torch and hang tight and just watch to see if something comes to look. Maybe rest while we're here. I don't know. I don't know. It's getting late. So I'm thinking we just post up, try to take like a short rest maybe and just watch the goat pen.
At this point, you all are well into your evening where your next rest is going to be a long rest. So if you are thinking about a rest, you may want to start to make your way out of this area and try to go for those stones to long rest there, or you're going to try to long rest somewhere here in Berez.
Well, I feel like the stones were like 5 hours away. So I mean, do you want to just hang tight for a little bit? Do you want to start a long rest and try to just kind of camp out at the stones or at the goat pen, like in the woods, but just watching it?
How about the crypt?
Are we in like roughly a 10-foot clearing? I believe.
No, you guys are hiding in trees right now.
Actually, it doesn't say I need a clearing. I just need 10 feet.
Tiny hut?
Absolutely.
Rocket. That's a perfect time to do it. Y'all keeping a watch while you rest?
Yeah, I'm just reading this.
It's effectively a free ability to rest. As long as nobody sees you go into the tiny hut, that is a free rest.
Can we see outside of it to watch the goat pen still?
You all can indeed.
Okay, I think that's what we should do then. Take turns like watching to see if anything comes by the goats. Awesome ability, by the way, Kavi.
Thank you.
So what's the resting order here? Who wants to take first watch?
I can take it.
So roll 2 perception check.
Be right there.
First part of your watch goes by. Doesn't really seem to be any activity in the goat pens. From what you can tell where you all are, they just seem to be there. Couple hours go by, and eventually you feel ready enough to wake the next person. Who's taking the second set of watches?
I can go next.
Roll 2 perceptions. So a couple hours go by for you as you sit back and kind of just try to keep an eye on the goats. Everything seems pretty calm. Nothing really seems to be happening. Nothing really seems to be going near the pen there. Can you hear from within it? I feel like you hear and see everything fine. Oh, what color are you making the outside of it, Kavi?
Probably like swampy green.
Gotcha. So more or less going for like the leaves around you.
Yep, camouflage.
And then do y'all want, what would it be, Flea or Jape to do the next round?
If Flea's not ready, you can just have Jade go next.
I can do it.
So if you're here, do 2 perception. So at just after 7 in the morning, Flea, you're kind of waning. Your eyes are kind of closing on you. You're not really happy that Sarkis woke you up to watch. What you notice is there's a glimmer of white ivory. Is that? There's no way. But you see, there's a massive skull floating in the air just above the creatures in the goat pen. And as you watch on, there seems to be a little old lady inside of the skull. And you see as she scatters some things to the goats below, and then flies away.
Where does it fly towards?
To the north. Comes from the north, stops over the pen, flies off to the north.
Okay. At the end of my watch, I'll wake everybody up and tell them what I saw.
So you're all woken up, told what happened, and then you have to go back to bed. So Jape spends the next few hours on watch. Everything goes by seamlessly. No little old ladies in skulls flying about. And eventually, shortly after he goes to wake everybody up, there's just a little bit of an eerie feeling as the still air goes back to a breeze. And you get a good sensation the dome is gone. You all can take a long rest.
Nice. Good call, Kavi. You said it came from the north, Flea, and it was flying. That explains no footsteps. Huh? Maybe the graveyard?
I don't know. It was quiet as anything. The only thing you could hear was the hay and whatnot being spread out.
And it was an old woman. It had to be her.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Well, we're all rested up. You said it came from the north. If if ever we had a chance, an opportunity, this is it. We're here, we're rested, and we at least know somewhat what direction. We should try to pursue her. And if we were sleeping and she was up and about, maybe we can find her while she's sleeping and surprise her.
Yeah, we can. I can lead you the same direction it went. Stealth is going to be the key here.
Yeah, so I think that's the way to go. Try to like move up north. Obviously, it's not going to lead like a trail behind, but maybe like look for a clearing big enough for a flying lady in a skull to travel through and head northish, possibly towards the graveyard.
Yeah, but the graveyard's more northwest. This skull went north.
Yeah, I mean, it came from the north for what you could see. So it could be like north, but it could be anywhere, right? You think it could be the crows?
I don't know, but keen mind would tell me if it was towards the graveyard or not. So, it directly north or towards the graveyard?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're assuming that it literally just flew in a straight line from its house to where we're at. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, do we think that it could potentially be the crows, or do we think that it's potentially the graveyard, the only other area we have not investigated? That's what I'm kind of getting at.
Okay, I got you.
But you might be right. It might be straight north, and it's actually the crows. Because if we think about it, there is 3 scarecrows right around that spot, and that's right where the crows are. So maybe that's her.
What are your thoughts on it, Kavi?
I think we can kind of do both. Start heading towards the graveyard, then just head north from that to the crows.
The only problem with the graveyard, I actually like Flea's idea. If we skip the graveyard, there's less of a chance that we'll encounter more of the zombies. And honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think it probably is the crows. She hates birds. She hates the Mardikovs and their crows. All of the crow scarecrows are full of crow feathers. So maybe she keeps the crows as some sort of weird pets and harvests them for the scarecrows.
That if you feel it's the crows, let's go for the crows.
She must be getting all the feathers from somewhere. So let's do it. Let's try to get there as quickly and as quietly as possible. Maybe approach it from the west. So there's only the one scarecrow that was kind of stationed out there. And maybe we can, I don't know, sneak up on it or destroy it quickly. I imagine she would wake up. The other option would be to just try and sneak past it. That's what we should do. We should try and sneak past it into the heart of the crows and see if that's her.
Okay, let us go.
So, where are y'all moving to? Are you trying to be stealthy?
Absolutely stealthy.
I feel like that was not the way I expected.
No, the map started moving. It was acting crazy. Something like that. Would you say we move about 6 and do 2 checks? Is that what it was?
Yep, you can do 2 stealth checks on that. And then if you're sitting back to listen and to look around, you can do a perception afterwards. So yeah, moving around in the dim lights, you all are able to cover a good bit of distance, moving past and leaving the goat pens behind you all, moving through a little thicket of forest until you kind of come out on the other side in a pretty similar area. You have the ruins of the church, of the graveyard, to the northwest of you, and kind of looking out, you all are able to confirm. Yeah. You're able to confirm there's still a scarecrow. Seems to be in about the same position, about 150 feet to the northeast of you all. And it seems like the crows, almost immediately upon pushing forward into that area, start to sound off an alarm, but are otherwise coming from the northeast of you all.
So do you guys want to try to come from the north, or do you want to squeeze in between the 2 scarecrows that are like directly north of us now?
Let's come in from the north.
So assuming it's the same idea, 2 stealths and perception. So you all are able to kind of move through the graveyard without disturbing anything. As you head more and more to the northwest, you keep eyes on the scarecrow you spotted as like the most westerly one that you spotted the day before. And Kavi, you're able to use the triangulation to more accurately place the crows. Are probably all of them about 300 feet, almost directly east of you. And I think you might have missed this, but when you guys heard these crows, this is a cacophony. There is a murder of crows there. You are not talking about a couple. There is a shitload of crows, and they are all in the same spot.
I say we go a little bit south and then head east.
I thought the last thing that you said was to come from the north.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm good with that. Sorry.
Yeah. Is that what you were thinking, Al? Like kind of swooping around that last scarecrow and then coming in from the north?
Yeah, I'm good with getting all the way up above and coming down.
Yeah, it probably doesn't make much difference, but I think that's the right way to go, the way you said it.
How much of a berth are you giving that scarecrow?
Oh, I was doing the same as before, where we were keeping, like, what was it, 150 feet away? Whatever it was before.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were inside of it where you last stopped anyways, because you were 2 spaces away.
Oh, wait, where were we last time? Right here? Is that right?
Yep, that's where you basically stopped.
Right there?
So you're technically already inside of that, but yeah, that's where I kind of want a little more detail.
Yeah, let's give them plenty of room.
Okay, so doing like that then, maybe?
All right, so do another 2 and 1.
I was afraid to go to sleep last night because I've been rolling so good. I didn't want to jinx it, but looks like I still got it.
There's a rumble in the sky as the mist suck in. Everybody take a Constitution saving throw. That was me fucking with you for talking about rolling dice. But had that been the Banshee's Wail, which I was totally thinking about, you'd have 2 people at 0 hit points right now.
Still got it though.
I feel the need for an adult beverage.
So you all move around that scarecrow, keeping it relatively in sight for times. Sarkis, y'all lose it for a little bit there before you are able to track it down through the trees and the brush again. As you all kind of sit back, Kavi, you again are able to listen. The crows are still making a ruckus, and gives you about 240 or so feet away from you, and they are about perfectly southeast of you at this point. And yeah, so you all can plot your next move.
All right, so I think this is the important one. So that's only 3 squares. So I think 1 stealth check and then a perception. To basically like get up like cautiously to see them. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, so I think that's just going to be a stealth check and perceptions.
My dice roller has been hacked.
Did Flea actively step away? Are you still gone?
No, I'm here. Give me a second.
Can you roll a stealth and a perception? Everything seems to be looking good. You don't seem to have alerted either of the scarecrow to your east or to your west. You don't seem to see any near you all or around you all at this point. And as you kind of look around for the first time, Sarkis, you are going to spot straight lines that don't belong in a forest. About 25, 35 feet up in the air, still 100 or so feet away. And Kavi is able to echolocate that's where the crows are, in that same area.
The treehouse. That's it. We're almost there. So I'm thinking, try to sneak into the house. Or I guess maybe we got to go a little further to get to the actual tree that the house is in, and then look to see if they're like, I don't know. You tell us.
Yeah, I think at this time you're pretty much, if you guys want to go towards it, you're moving one space and you're giving one check.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to do. You said we're about 150 out, so like 3 spaces.
No, you guys can see the treehouse right now. It is 100 feet south of you. You can move one space south and do another stealth check. And if you all want to take the time to, again, you can kind of sit back and try to like look around at your surroundings after you move and do a perception check.
Oh, I see. I didn't see you like put it on there. I see it now. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Can't roll for a random encounter to save my... Well, it's not going to save anybody's ass. You really are like every third number is a crit.
It's insane.
Next game is gonna be all ones.
I'm not gonna say anything right now to jinx myself, but you guys know how Sarkis has rolled this whole entire campaign.
Try to hack it.
Yeah, I wrote a code. I'm hacking, baby.
So what is your marching order now? You're doing typical Starkus, Kavi, Lee.
Yeah, I'd like to be in front.
I don't mind being second or last.
Yeah, doesn't matter where I am.
I'll go second then.
How about this? You guys can arrange yourselves on the map. Pretty much the central northern portion is what is currently revealed to you. And then you guys can place yourselves.
It won't.
What was that? You can't drag yourself out there? So does that look good for you all? Sarkis, Aragol, Jape, Kavi, and Flea in the back?
Sure.
Looks good to me.
So let me have you all roll stealth and then a perception.
Do I need to roll one more? Or is that the one I just rolled? Because I think I rolled and neither one of them did afterwards.
It's honestly too many for me to tell, but I think that sounds about right. I feel like the last roll, you guys did a pretty good job of keeping yourselves separated.
Nice roll, Squid.
I don't know. Kavi's double 916 is kind of fucking with me. I feel like that was the
The
last
roll,
that I called for 2.
the roll that I did right there was one you called for, and then you switched us to the map, so it never counted, and neither one of them rolled for that round. So
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Stealth wise, we rock.
yeah, I could definitely see how if you had a party that's a bunch of like stealthy people, you could completely act different than like your typical just ragtag bunch of folks.
So as you all approach this area, you're kind of coming into an area you've not really explored here. Still very similar swampy lands. In particular, there's a little bit of an isolation here of it's more or less an island ahead of you as you start to see some of the deep water kind of ahead of you that kind of cuts from the northeast across to the southwest of you. And the tree is more or less directly south of you. And from this distance is where you can see the skull that Flea has described to you. It is vaguely twice the size of a human. It's probably 3 times the size of Sarkis. And it's well enough visible here. And among all of the trees and the brush, you see a massive tree that seems to be growing up on this island. And inside of it, there is a small little building. From this distance, kind of hard to tell, but it's approximately like 15 by 15 inside of this little building. It's very clearly some sort of living space, isolated and brought up away from the moisture of the swamp itself. And obviously, as we get more and more micro, you guys are now basically limited to moving 3 squares, kind of per check. But you are back to a normal map. Still difficult terrain as you were in the swamps. But I think you're probably about, what is it, I think like 70 feet away from it right now.
And is that token? Is that the birds? Can we see? Are they like in a cage or something, or are they just like all over the place?
From this point, I don't think you all can really see the birds. But Kavi's still echolocating them. The birds are there. Whatever is going on with that hut, the birds are a part of that situation.
Okay, no worries. And they're still just like making the same amount of noise. It doesn't seem like it's picking up or dying off.
Yeah, again, this is a cacophony of birds, so to actually pick up the difference, it's a little bit beyond even with high perceptions. They're just making a shitload of noise.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, I'd say keep moving on. Maybe it looks like there is a log kind of like tree that we could cross, or we could swim. I'm not opposed to swimming. I think overall that worked pretty well. If I was gonna like trap an area, I would trap like the obvious like crossing. So I'm thinking avoiding that might be a good idea.
I'm fine with swimming it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you want us to all move just the same, or does it matter our actual movement? I know you
No,
said
you're turn by turn. Like, so if you guys want to like move stealthily, realistically, you're moving like 5 feet if you were moving stealthily right now because it's severely difficult terrain. But if you like dashed as well using your action, you can move 10 feet in the turn.
Okay, so how did you want us to move 3 spaces? That's what you said. That's the only reason I moved 3.
Yeah, I just didn't think of it properly, so that was really a misspeaking by me. If you guys are continuing to try to move stealthily and slowly to approach with all caution, then you're moving effectively. I mean, realistically, 2 of you can move 15 feet, but this is double difficult, which essentially makes it, I think, 15 feet per space. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Well, really, it's 10 feet per space, and then you are slowing your pace by half to move stealthily. So it's 20 feet per space.
Okay, so I can move 2 spaces. So I will do that.
So let's have you all roll stealths here. And then you're kind of on that same level. It kind of twists her back around to you all. If you'd like to continue moving, you can basically move a space. If you'd like to use your action to dash, you can essentially move another space.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the double, the dash move. So 2 more spaces.
Yep, sounds good. Another round of stealths for you all. Can't believe I've had one random encounter with all of these rolls. You got like all the 20s, and I've got all the like 1s through 8s.
I mean, if you need me to roll for you, I can proxy it. I mean, if that's what you want.
I feel like a random encounter right before Baba Lysaga is not what you want. So it rotates back around, and again, you guys are just slowly just creeping forward inch by inch. You're starting to like kind of start to sink into the swamp where you can almost start to kind of like turn into almost a swimming motion as your body just kind of like sucks into the water and you start to float by not fighting it. And you can just slowly inch yourself forward, and y'all are just creeping. Part of the nature here. Nothing's going wrong. Nothing's out of the ordinary. Just a couple of swamp creatures moving along. So if y'all want to move another 2 spaces, do another stealth check.
How high up does it look like the like house part of the tree is off the ground?
That was like the 25 foot. As everybody slowly gets into the water, hardly a sound that's made. Starting to feel like maybe the crows aren't warning you. Maybe this cacophony is to try to help you get closer. The noise is helping to cover your movements. and they're trying to help you get here. But if you all are ready to push forward a little bit deeper, getting close to where you start to feel little bits of a little bit more solid earth below you, you can almost start to make your way onto the land about 30 or 40 feet away from the hut at this point.
Okay, so I want to do something different here, but I think I want to wait one more round. I want to pull out that little silver potion that I got recently, and I want to drink that.
Let me see if I took notes on what that was. That was from the Vistani?
Yeah, you told me what it was.
That's the one that lets you travel through the mist.
No, not those fake potions. I got a potion. I think it was when you weren't here, when we had Jake playing with us, Al. But it was like a silver potion, and it said that I can like walk on walls, like as if it was just regular ground.
Is that what it is? Potion of spider climbing? Or is it potion of climbing?
Yeah, I don't think you said spider climbing. I think you just said potion of climbing.
And you're thinking that was from 2 weeks ago? Yeah, okay, I've got potion of climbing.
Yeah, from the Vistanis. And I believe you said it lasted for an hour, if I looked at it right.
When you drink this potion, you gain a climbing speed equal to your walking speed for 1 hour.
Okay. So, is that going to be? Can I still move 2 squares and drink that, or do I need to only move 1 square if I'm going to drink that? I have 40 feet of movement.
Yeah, effectively that turn, you're going to be limited to 1 square of movement.
Okay, but what is it? My bonus action to drink it, or is it my action? Like, if I take it out this turn, basically, can I still move 2? And then can I move next turn and drink it without slowing down? I don't want to slow everybody down.
I mean, for what it's worth, you guys can just take a little bit more time, but in general, I feel like the bonus action is about trying to give people the ability to use a healing potion more than that these things should just be bonus actions.
Oh, I thought in like the actual player's manual, it was
No, it's basically an action.
Wait, what's that?
The bonus action on drinking a healing potion is 100% a home rule, basically. It's just extremely widely used because you're trying not to penalize people to stay alive. I would say what it comes down to is healing potions are designed to be a little bit easier to drink, so they're a little bit like less thick. But yeah, this is going to still take an action because you really have to spend all of that time like head tilted back chugging from it. So
Okay.
for what it's worth, you can just have
I'm gonna wait to drink it until we get closer, like to the bottom of the tree, so everybody can keep moving stealthily. Because I don't want to slow everybody down now in case we like flub the test. If that makes sense.
Well, another option for you too is you could have chugged it earlier if you wanted to. It's an hour-long thing, so you can kind of have just like retcon that you drank it earlier if that was your intention to come into this area with the ability to climb.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. We'll say I already drank it then. That's fine.
Yeah, so it's just delete it, and we've got you as potion of climbing is active.
Okay, cool. Cool.
So you all can kind of move that extra little bit. Do a stealth check here. Everybody kind of super Navy sealing it right now. You just kind of move along that coastal edge. You're still mostly inside of the water. Sarkis is a little bit like kind of slithering in the mud, and Kavi would definitely look like a, a guy, kaiju at this point, as she's like very much like in that lizard mode. As she's moving forward, her tail's just kind of like slowly swimming her forward. But you all are still keeping quiet. Everything seems to be going well. You don't see any movement ahead of you.
Keep going, everybody.
Sure.
I feel like I'm gonna have to float test this die. Oh, you start to crawl out. Oh wait, did you all do another stealth check there? I think there's one more check right now. So you all start to move up on the banks, slowly starting to shed some of like the mud and water from yourselves. You're probably a little bit well weighted down at this point, but you just start to move forward. Kind of coming out here, you start to notice that there are many cages littered around the roots of this tree, and they are just filled with these ravens and crows that are just making a cacophony of noise. And it's at this point, Kavi, it's actually starting to hurt your ears with how loud and how much is going on here. But as you all move forward, getting pretty close to this, you see the massive skull just kind of sitting out to the east of this little building, and starting to spot that there are a couple of, I guess it's probably a singular door. Yeah, I think it's a single door on that east side, which is basically just above the skull.
And is the skull like still floating, or is it just like sitting on the ground right now?
Right now, it's just sitting on the ground, and it looks like a gigantic skull. It's definitely huge, but it just looks like a skull that's upturned, kind of like cranium down.
Okay. So yeah, I'm thinking keep going.
So as you all move forward, kind of butting up against the roots of the tree, do another stealth check.
And does it look like there's like a stairway or something, or like a rope up to like the entrance, or like is it just like tree and then like a house with doors?
I don't think there's anything in particular telling you how somebody gets inside, perhaps, except for that you already understand that she can fly with the skull.
Oh wait, so but the skull is parked on the ground, right? Or is
Yep.
the skull up in the tree?
The skull might be her mode of flying, but she might just fly to her door and then step out, and perhaps the skull just like falls to the ground. Like, there wouldn't be difficult to get into this for anybody who knows how to fly.
I get what you're saying. So it's not the skull that necessarily makes her fly, but rather her ability, and then she makes the skull fly. That makes sense.
Are those 13, 18, 11? Is that the last roll for this move up to the edge? Yeah, okay. So what are you all thinking here? Sarkis, you're basically at the front, kind of northeastern corner of the building. Kavi's right behind you. You've got Aragal and Jape kind of butting up against the northern wall of the tree. What are you all thinking here?
I'm wondering if we get in the skull, will it take us up automatically?
I feel like this tree looks too small.
I am going to like walk up the tree.
I think that's more properly the size of the tree. My apologies there.
And you drop down a rope for the rest of us. Saying that quietly.
So what are you going for as you walk up the tree?
Just like trying to sneak up the actual like tree, but like um still be sneaky, but just going for like the entrance as direct as possible.
All right, so pretty much walk up some roots, and then you're just kind of like shimmying over towards the front door.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's everybody else doing as Sarkis moving over towards the front door?
Please gonna check out the skull.
All right, so you're still limited to 2 spaces. How are you going to check out the skull, and how fast are you trying to move?
I'm gonna move stealthily. It's gonna take me a little while to get there. I realize that.
So, like, for you, that's movement bonus action, and you could action up to kind of behind Sarkis.
Thank you, sir. I'll take it.
Copy, what are you going for?
Are you handing me the rope, Flea? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'll give you a rope to drop down.
Like you're gonna hold one end and I'll take the other? Is that what you were thinking?
I was just gonna give it to you to fasten and drop down.
Okay, I got you.
Copy, what are you doing as they move towards that front door?
Are there any crows in like the trees around this tree, or are they all just concentrated in one singular area?
They are concentrated inside of the cages that they are imprisoned in. The crows are not free. The crows are stuck in cages. You've not seen a crow in a tree in this entire swamp.
Alright, is it possible to climb the tree?
You can certainly try. Make a strength check. So if you'd like, you can basically climb like 15 feet up towards about where Sarkis is.
From where I'm at, just how high is it to the cages?
Oh, the cages are like all around the base of this tree's trunks.
So pretty low to the ground then?
Yeah, they're like at ground level effectively. So with that move, let me have Sarkis and Flea make stealth checks.